When do you think you became homeless, or like when did that happen?
Either 14 or 16. It's been a minute.
What's been the hardest part, you think, of the last 10 years?
Good karma doesn't always come back around like you give it.
What's wrong with the shelters?
They're bullies in the way they do certain things. Well, shelters and places like this don't like to call an ambulance. It doesn't look good on their paperwork or whatever.
My name is Milan. Nice to meet you.
Angel, nice to meet you. 2 L's.
Angel, 2 L's. And are you from California?
No, but I'm going to stay.
Okay. Where did you come from?
I originally say heaven.
Angel with 2 L's must be from heaven.
Okay, you know, the East Coast, New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey. It was just always too cold during the winter, and I had a bad car accident, so I needed to go where the weather was good.
Yeah. Where did you grow up? Like your family was in?
I moved around a lot. Yeah, my mom moved around a lot, so just all over the East Coast, New York, Pennsylvania.
And so you're living here right now. Where do you live?
I guess right now I reside in Beverly Hills.
Would you say you're homeless right now?
Probably.
When do you think you became homeless, or like when did that happen?
Well, at the end of the day, I guess I've always on and off been homeless since I was like either 14 or 16. It's been a minute.
I'm 14 or 16.
Yeah, and I definitely, God has blessed me by not aging me, but my body has gone through it. I had a bad car accident like 20 years ago. So that made things a little more difficult.
What's been the hardest part, you think, of like the last, I don't know, say 10 years of your life?
Good karma doesn't always come back around like you give it. I always had a place for somebody to stay, like always, whether I knew them or not. And I only had like a 1-bedroom, but we always had pillows, couches, recliners, sometimes even my bed if I was going to work. So, yeah, and I did that for a couple of years. It doesn't come back, or I shouldn't be out here.
Would you take people in a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I really lived alone.
Do you feel like
I had my crib since I was like 21.
You had what?
My crib.
Oh, yeah.
The place I was staying at. I had that for like almost 10 years.
Oh, wow. And what were you doing at that time? Like, were you working?
A little bit. I was doing hosting, waitressing.
Okay.
But yeah, so my friends did help out a bit, and I was also on Social Security. Gone through some trauma.
Like, what happened that you lost your job? Was it COVID, or was it?
Not COVID for me, COVID for everybody else. Because when I out here, I've been doing security and background acting.
Okay.
And so that's just too many folks next to each other. So that was a wrap. By the time I got all my ID and everything together, because, you know, you lose it out here. And by the time I got my ID together, they were closing everything because of the COVID. Got to have a doctor's note. If you don't have the shot, which I can't really get the shot, I lost my spleen. So I'm like, I'm not dealing with that. It's just better not to get COVID. So I haven't gotten COVID. The mask does actually help, as far as I can tell. When people cough, it's on there and like,
Yeah. If you had 3 wishes,
oh, don't give me
what
that.
would they be?
I don't know. Shoot. No, you're getting personal now.
You're a person. We're just 2 people.
Whatever. This ain't texting. No.
No.
Let me see. I guess not to ever be homeless again, have my own crib. Have people that I can trust and vice versa. And I never got married, so I'd like to get married to somebody I actually like.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal.
Yeah, well, I get proposals, but I'm like, we're just not compatible. I like them, but we're not compatible.
And so how long have you been in California now?
Maybe 5 years or so. 2017, what's that?
6 years?
Okay. Yeah, see, from the car accident, I had head lacerations. That's another thing. My memory is not the best. So.
And you got in a car accident when you were on the East Coast?
Yeah. Yeah, right after I had my first kid.
You have kids?
Yeah, they're both over 20.
So what would be the best way people could help you right now? Like, if it...
I just need a home that's not a shelter. Shelters are like have proved to be bad bullies. I can't seem to stay in one.
What's wrong with the shelters?
They're bullies in the way they do certain things. It depends on the shelter, and each one is different. I just got out of one where they didn't allow you to go anywhere until they placed you, and that could be like 2-3 weeks. My one friend said that there was a shelter that I could go to. They would take my phone for like 90 days. I'm like, how am I supposed to get any work with that? Like, that's insane. And I need the GPS if I do want to find any work or going anywhere because my memory's bad.
Right.
I always need the GPS. Like, it never fails. Just as a reminder.
Have you been to any homes recently? Like,
I've been to shelters, but
just the shelters?
yeah. Nobody really trusts you to go to their home. Yeah, so those days are over, which I'm actually pretty helpful in the home. Shelters, probably not so much. I'm not going to be cleaning up after like 50, 100 people. But in a home, I don't have an issue cleaning up after like 5 folks or whatever, helping out. I can't do all the work like a maid, but I'm very good at helping out, organizing. I'm helpful.
You seem to be in fairly good spirits, despite having been homeless for a while.
Thank you. Yeah, this is actually me in the worser mood.
In a worse mood? Wow.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty happy, but I've been through some stuff the past couple days, some extra stuff, so I'm actually not, I almost told you no, because I've been a little cranky lately, but you got lucky.
How do you do it? Like, how do you stay so positive? And so, I mean, even now when you're saying you're a little more cranky, you're still so, I don't know, positive.
Not a clue. Cigarettes do stop you from crying, though. And sometimes a shot here and there, cigarettes and maybe a shot here and there will stop you from crying, like on the immediate. And I hate to even say that because it shouldn't be that, but when you're by yourself, you don't really have friends, you don't have family, there's no one to be that support.
Right.
So what you got? Right. And church helps too.
And church helps too.
Yeah, I go to church.
Were you always religious, or did you find God?
Never really been religious, just always a believer.
Spiritual.
Yeah, I wasn't raised on it or anything. My mom was actually a Science of the Mind or Scientology, but I wasn't really feeling that.
Right.
But I've gone through a couple of miracles, so I'm like, gotta admit, it's gotta be God, because I'm no super being. As far as I know, like, I get skinned knees sometimes.
We just had like a big storm in California, right? Yeah. What did you do when that happened?
Surprisingly, I was in the shelter still.
You were in the shelter?
Yeah.
Why is it surprising that you were still in the shelter?
Because me and shelters really don't mix. I try, I work with them, but at the end of the day, they want to throw me out on some small technicality or there's an issue, and it wasn't really me. So I'm just like, you know what?
Do you mind sharing some of those technicalities? Because the part of what I want to do is help, right? And find out like why these shelters and the places that we put money towards to help are not working.
Well, let me see. The last one, one of the girls was getting evicted. And one of the other guys there was asking, well, what happened? So I just mentioned that they told her, she said that she was short of breath and she needed an ambulance. Well, shelters and places like this don't like to call an ambulance. It doesn't look good on their paperwork or whatever. So they told her that they weren't going to call an ambulance. She said she couldn't breathe, so she was going to go out and call the ambulance herself. They said, no problem, just make sure you take all your stuff because you can't come back. Some places will actually call, some don't. I guess it depends on how many they've already had. I guess they've had a lot. They had a lot of people just walking out because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be a shelter, not somewhere where you're stuck there.
Right.
You can't go anywhere. You can't go get your mail. You can't go to work. You can't do any of it.
So that's the challenge. It's almost
even if
like
you had a job, you couldn't go to work. I'm like, what? That's not a shelter.
So what do they do? Like, are they helping you find jobs at all? Like, why?
No, definitely not finding jobs. They might help you find another shelter to go to, or what was it, shared housing, which I can't do shared housing. They wound up taking like $400, $500 of my money, and the roommate they gave me was constantly ripping and tearing my work bag because I was working at the time, and within like 3 times in 1 week, I'm like, why is this always breaking? I went and took a closer look, and it was slit. Yeah, and they weren't doing anything about it. So I'm just like, yeah. So it just
So you're still making some money right now.
No.
No, you're not making money right now.
No, I haven't gone back to work. I've been dealing with going back and forth with the moving. It's really hard to have energy to go to work. And I'm carrying all that. Like, if you try to lug that, good luck.
I bet.
I'm strong.
Especially this heat.
Oh, that's another thing where I can't really move around the heat. Just a couple days ago, I was lugging that, not realizing, I guess it was too hot. And I went over, and the church doesn't have air as much as it used to, I think. And next thing I know, it was the first time I wasn't able to get communion because I had to lay down. I was on the pew, laying down, not the pew, but the kneeler, laying down so my wrist could hit the ground. Just, it was scary. So I don't really do too much heat. And that was like my first or second night being back out on the streets. So yeah, it's just a back and forth thing. So if you got a job, that would be really helpful where I can lug that or someone can help me lug it.
So there's two problems, right? One is like needing a home and a space to be in so that you even have the energy to show up to work, right?
So I can leave my stuff.
And leave your stuff. And then the second,
that's the main thing.
Itself.
No, I have 2 jobs.
You have 2 jobs?
Yeah, I'm a good worker. Like they told me, I mean, what was it? I think it was like a couple months ago because I was going to come back. And the one, the security, I need clothes for the security. But they said that when I was ready, I just have to read. They have one of those, I guess, touch-up things where they remind you of what the job is once a year.
Right.
So I missed it, so I got to go do that. They said after that, I'm clear. And the other one, central casting, I did nothing wrong to them.
How much do you think you need to make like a month to be able to sustain a place to live?
Oh, gosh. I haven't lived down here yet, really and truly. So I really couldn't tell you. I would say it's like New York. It's like New York prices. Because I'm kind of bougie. Kind of bougie, which is why you found me in where?
In Beverly Hills.
Okay. Where's my church?
Beverly Hills.
And I got 2 of them. Like, where do I go lay my head?
Beverly Hills.
Right.
You said you have been to a home here? Or the shelters help you find long-term?
They don't have shelters in Beverly Hills, so
We have no shelters in Beverly Hills. So where is the closest shelter to Beverly Hills?
I don't know.
You've been to one here, you said though, right?
They either take me there. I haven't actually driven there. I know there was that's where I was at. And there was an issue there. People were smoking meth in the dorms, and I'm allergic to it.
You're allergic to meth?
Yes.
Wow.
I think there's mold in it because from when I was a kid, we learned I was allergic to mold. I took a penicillin pill and I straight fainted. Yeah, my mom said it wasn't even like 5 minutes. And then when I've been in buildings that had mold and I just know it's there. And it kind of made me a little lightheaded. So I'm just like, okay, mold.
Mold doesn't work.
Yeah, so I think that's what's in it because people have been able to do things around me and I not flip out.
Right.
But this makes me flip out and it's like pepper spray in my mouth. I'm like, the air is spicy and I can't handle pepper or any type of spice. So I'm just like, this isn't working. So they had an issue.
So they come and they pick you up and they take you to these shelters and it seems like they're far, would you say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour?
I don't know. Cause sometimes they go somewhere else and then go to where they need to take me. And a lot of times, my memory is not the best. Like I said, from my car accident. So unless I'm doing it a lot.
And how do you make your way back here? How do you make your way back to Beverly Hills?
Bus.
A bus. Where do you think you're going to sleep tonight?
I have no clue because the spot I was at, I couldn't stay because the security came. So that ruined that. I was there for a couple days. So I don't know. I don't like to sleep outside because I get sick.
If you could have made an ask of your community or the people that were close to you before you became homeless, after you, because you had a place when you were 21, you said for several years.
That was in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and it was just way too cold out there. And I kept on going in and out the hospital around this wintertime, especially December.
This was for the car accident?
Yeah, well, because I have no spleen.
Right.
So it's like if I get...
Because of the car accident?
Yeah. It was ruptured. We don't really know how. Either from the seatbelt, because I was wearing my seatbelt, or from when on impact, because the car actually hit my side. I was on the passenger side, actually hit my side, and apparently pushed me all the way over to where the emergency brake is. So I had to relearn how to walk, relearn how to breathe because my ribs and pelvis were bilateral fractured, had, was it lacerations? So my memory went from photogenic to like a person that can't remember nothing. So it took a while. This is me a whole lot better because it's after 20 years later. But yeah, that I still haven't run, still haven't jogged. I want to try swimming. I'm hoping I can still do that. I used to be big into tennis. After the accident, I was good at taekwondo. I took taekwondo, and I did a competition, and so I placed.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
How did you learn Taekwondo?
One of the guys, he was going around the park when I was with my kids, and my kids just attached themselves to them.
Yeah.
And then he offered us to take some classes that he was in charge of, and told him I couldn't afford it, and he was like, get whatever you can. Him and his mom would help out, so I was able to do that, and I placed with a sprained ankle. I don't know how I did it. He don't know how I did it because I'm a white belt. I can't remember I didn't go on the stripes because my memory's bad, but I was very good at the blocking and the hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to place in third.
When did you realize that your memory started to get really bad?
After the car accident.
Immediately after the car accident?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because it got better. It's just not ever going to be what it was. I was really known for knowing somebody, meeting them once, and like the next year, remember their name, how we met, if we were in a good mood, if we weren't.
Do you think it's the physical trauma from the car accident, or it's also some mental trauma?
I couldn't sleep on my head for over a year. And then, the spleen right here, they took that out. I was told it's supposed to be a little incision like this big on your back. When they do a splenectomy, a planned one.
And it was large.
Yeah, I was told that they took all my guts out and took out the spleen and then put the guts back in, which they didn't put in all the way because there's something right here when I bend over to the wrong way, it like gets stuck or it comes out.
I have to ask, what's kept you from resorting to crime or to violence or to just drugs? And you said you can't do meth, but
God has blessed other people a lot.
yeah.
Because it makes no sense, to be honest. I should have did something. Even when I danced, I didn't do all the extra. I just was a good dancer. So I just got tips. I didn't get a lot of dances. Because, I'm not good at lying, so I ain't going to lie to you. If you ask me, you're going to get some. You'll have a good time, but don't keep asking because I'll tell you no. That's where I mess up all the time. I'm honest. So, everybody else got really blessed. Because I be getting mad sometimes. I'm like, you know what? I should be like this, and I should do this, and I should do that. But at the end of the day, that's not me.
That's not you.
That's not me. Maybe an apple or something. But, that's not me. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I find a way and get fed. Somebody gives me money.
What is your favorite meal?
Oh, shut up. I don't know. Oh, I like food. I'm like, there's a really big girl stuck in this little tiny body, but I'm happy. I got to exercise if I don't want to.
Oh, man. You sound like you belong in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I do. In Pennsylvania, they all used to call me Hollywood, and I came out here and I'm like, I'm not Hollywood. I'm Beverly Hills.
I like it.
But I don't know, lasagna maybe?
Lasagna.
Nothing spicy. But the real lasagna with ricotta cheese.
Okay.
Yeah. And some salt on the side. I'm a saltaholic and a sugarholic.
All right.
Yeah, I gotta have my salt and sugar.
I have one last question. If anyone you knew, whether it was your kids, your family, got to see this, what would your message be to them?
I guess the main thing. Love you and I miss you. Wish you were here. Things would be different, especially if I had my kids around. I had my kids and things were awesome. They were great helpers.
They were great helpers.
Yeah, they were good kids too. So it wasn't too much stress. Get to go to the park, have some fun, do that after we take care of business. We'd stay home like maybe 3-4 days out the week
Yeah.
because they had school or whatever. But at the end of the day, we got at least 3 days. We out there doing something. They like the beach. They like the pool. Yeah.
Where was this?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But it got cold
So,
there.
yeah, and
Couldn't do it.
yeah, I just kept the hospitals. And at the end of the day, if it wasn't for the accident, I would not be in this predicament. Because I've been homeless before. Yeah. Because usually after my accident, I would be homeless. I mean, before the accident, I might be homeless like 2-4 months, but always wound up getting on my feet somehow, some way, and pretty much always kept an apartment until after the accident. And then people were attacking me, robbed me while I was on my deathbed.
This was why after the accident.
Yeah. Like instead of visiting me, my friends robbed me. My mom had attacked me when I went to her house to heal.
Wow.
Mind you, the baby was real small. That was when I had one. It's been an issue. And then my memory was really bad the first 5 to 10 years. So it's like every time I left the house, I had to go back home to get whatever it is I needed. That was terrible, especially when I was driving. I'd get lost like 2 to 3 hours out of the way. Yeah, it was very frustrating. So I remember a little bit now, but it doesn't really help me. I'm getting old.
Not old.
Oh, yeah.
I lied. I'm going to ask you one more question.
It's okay. Men do what they do.
Now, as a parent yourself, and so many years later, like maybe one thing that you wish you had gotten from your parents that you didn't get.
Feeling of being loved.